raise your hand if milk was a part of your morning. This could include like a cup of coffee with creamer, or a bowl of cereal, or a bowl of oatmeal, or like the frosting on that donut, Olivia, or even just a regular glass of milk. As you can see, milk is a common theme in how many people start their days. Milk is a part of everyone's life, but most Americans drink multiple glasses of milk a day, but very few know everything that goes into their glass. So, Third Adar described milk as a necessity with no close substitute in her article, Milk by Any Other Name, but how necessary can it be? In this speech, I will explain the varying types of milk, milk's health information, its production process, and the milk market. So a common question in the milk industry is, have you ever milked an almond before? Obviously not. So that raises the question, is it true milk? Most assume that since the bottle or jug that it comes in says soy milk or almond milk, that's what it is. It's just milk, because that's what it says. Well, not necessarily. According to the USDA, anything from the milk you know to calcium fortified soy milk can be considered dairy, even though soy milk obviously doesn't come from animals, so it's not really milk. According to the FDA, their limits on milk are lactation from healthy cows. Now that's a very specific kind of, I don't know what the word is, but like a specific description of it, and it kind of limits it a lot. So in Skorbinski's article, Cow's Milk Still Leads in the United States, that's where I got that information from. So like when you put oat milk in your smoothie in the morning, that's not like actually real milk, it's just a milk imitation. True milk comes from the process of lactation. Now that we have the idea of lactation understood, there are actually a lot more milks than you might think. People have milked multiple animals throughout history, and the earliest record of milk was in a cooking vessel from a place called Sabi Abiad in Upper Mesopotamia, dated to 6,400 to 6,330 BCE. This information is from Rosenstock's article called Cultured Milk. Over the centuries, people have milked from the most obvious animals, being cows, to some of the most unbelievable, like reindeer or donkeys. I know, it sounds crazy. Rosenstock's article also says, and explains this, the sheep and reindeer milk stands out for higher protein and fat content. In cow's milk, fat accumulates as an easily accessible layer on the milk surface. Milk from horses and donkeys is very high in lactose. Now, despite these major differences in content levels, they all have a lot in common. They all share the base nutrients of milk, just at different levels. These base nutrients include calcium, protein, vitamin B2, vitamin B12, potassium, and phosphorus, according to the Harvard article, Milk. Really creative name. All these nutrients, along with some fat, adds up to only 13% of milk's content. The other 87% is water. Now that means, like, when there's still a couple drops of milk in the bottom of your cup, and you go and fill it up with water, everybody's freaking out about it because it's a little cloudy. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I can't remember a time when Got Milk wasn't advertising the health effects of milk and how good it is for you all over TV and everywhere else. But with this much water in it, how healthy can it really be? Well, in some areas, it is neutral or helpful. For example, weight control, it's neutral. It doesn't really help or hinder weight loss. And for diabetes, yogurt, for some reason, specifically yogurt, is helpful for producing insulin. However, in other cases, it is actually capable of making health worse. For example, cardiovascular disease. Whole milk has a lot of saturated fat, which raises cholesterol. For cancer, Harvard study showed that multiple servings of milk throughout your life can increase your risk of prostate cancer. And its big selling point, bone health. Harvard's research shows that an association with milk intake and decreased hip fractures has not been made, and although it is believed that high calcium intakes at an adolescent and pre-adolescent years may protect against bone loss later in life, studies have not supported this. Now, these negative effects are not a reason to stop drinking it. Almost everything you eat or drink has some negative effects, and you'd be hard fought to find something that isn't going to hurt you in some way. Now that we know its health effects, let's talk about how it gets to your table. From the starting point of the cow to the glass on your table. Now, obviously, the starting point, like I just said, is the cow. They can be pumped with hormones called RBST, which increase its production rates and make more milk. Or it can be left without hormones to produce milk at a natural rate. From there, it's sent to facilities and held in silos until it's ready to be processed. And in these facilities, big machines heat it, then separate it, then mix it, then blend it, then heat it again, then cool it. Now that was a lot, so let's break it down a little bit. Raw milk is separated in a centrifuge, which is a big machine that spins really fast, and it causes the cream to rise to the top and the skim milk to settle on the bottom. Now, like I said, this top layer is heavy whipping cream, which you can buy in the store. The bottom layer is skim milk. After this, these two parts are reintroduced at a 1% level for 1% milk, a 2% level for 2% milk, or a 3.25% level for whole milk, or at a half and half proportion for half and half cream. After that, a machine called a homogenizer, basically blends this milk, and that breaks up these fat globules that are in the milk. If it makes sure the milk is as one continuous liquid and not two separate liquids. If this wasn't a process, after the milk sat in your fridge for a while, there'd be like a little layer of cream on the top of it, and the rest of it would just be skim milk. And some people prefer 2%, so they don't want that. Finally, the pasteurization process is done, and that's what makes it drinkable for the public. This pasteurization process is the milk is brought up to a certain temperature to kill bacteria, and after this, it's cooled, packaged, and shipped off to where it's needed. Now, need can be shown through prices and production. Production stays the most consistent. It follows predictable patterns. For comparison, this is a graph of butter production. It's pretty consistent, as you can see, throughout years. Goes down, and very little is made in the summer. But there's a spike, and that was actually when COVID hit. And cheese, pretty level, but there was very little produced in February. Milk, similar to cheese, very little in February, but it's a little more inconsistent. A lot made in the summer months, and a lot made during the holidays. And this is in preparation for school's demand. Now, low consistency is shown in prices. For example, the spike in butter production paired with COVID tanked prices right there. And they've kind of been able to figure it out. And recently, due to inflation, they're rising. Take a look at the other two examples and what those two factors have affected these. COVID, prices went crazy. They're still trying to figure stuff out. And milk, again, prices went crazy. They're still trying to figure stuff out. So today in my speech, I've shown different types of milk, information about its health effects, production process, and its market. Now, I've only scraped the surface of the milk industry today, but hopefully you're able to learn something about it from my speech. Thank you.